Welcome to Widow Too Soon. This is Michelle Bader Ebersole coming back at you with another solo episode. Actually, most of what you're going to get is going to be solo for now. That's just kind of the direction I'm wanting to go. And this week, I thought I'd share something kind of fun and it's hopefully inspiring and means a lot to you. So I was invited to go to Luke's 30-year class reunion. Now, Luke and I went to the same small private school. He graduated in 96 and I graduated in 97. I know, I don't know how because I'm only 29, right? But anyways, it was his 30-year class reunion and I was called and asked to speak. And I was very excited, nervous, all the things. I don't usually get nervous when I speak, but I was like, I don't even know. Like at first I was like, what am I going to talk about? And the girl who invited me just said, like, talk about his life and all the fun things you did at the end of his life. And then maybe about like how God has used this. And so I wrote the following speech that you'll get to hear. And I shared it at the reunion on Saturday night. So let me like give you a little background into what you're going to be watching here. We're listening to. So the theme was 90s. So one of my best friends from high school, I was like, if I'm going, I'm bringing her, right? I'm not going to bring Joel to Luke's reunion. That's way too weird. Amanda was in my same high school. She would know some of the people, so it made sense. So her and I got together and we both wore like short overalls. I guess they're called shortalls. And we did one side down like we used to do back in the day, which I've also heard is back, which is crazy. We did the like zigzag headbands, which are apparently back. It's like everything is back in style. It's nuts. And we did like the choker necklaces. Plus I had kind of like a puka shell necklace that was actually Luke's back in the day. I have all of his old like puka shell necklaces and stuff like that from back when he was really cool and young. So anyways, I wore that as a tribute to him. And I also did like slouch socks with Birkenstocks. Yeah, really cool. Big hoop earrings. And it was so much fun. Oh, scrunchie on my arm, all the things. And we had so much fun, like getting ready together. But I'm going to tell you, I was so nervous walking into that room because when you go to a class reunion that's not your own and your spouse is not with you, it's a little awkward. So first of all, I see the girl that I know that invited me. She hugs me and everything. And then we're just kind of standing there and people are literally staring at us. I felt so weird. And so I did go up to some of them. I mean, again, small school, they knew who I was. But I didn't date Luke in high school, so maybe not all of them knew that I was married to Luke. So I made sure on my name tag to write Michelle Bader Rommel, which was my maiden name before Luke. I didn't write Ebersole. There was no room for 3 last names. And so I would say, you know, I was married to Luke and I'm here in honor of him and I'm going to speak about him. And they're like, oh, and then people just don't know what to do, right? They're so awkward. It's just kind of a weird thing. And so I felt really strange up until dinner. Well, I felt strange the whole time. It was just like kind of like trying to talk to people. People are kind of awkward because they don't know what to say when someone's died. And then it was time to eat. And then my friend was like, eat quickly because you're going to speak first. And I was like, okay, but I can't really eat. So I didn't eat before because I was too nervous. And then I went up and I nailed it. You're going to see I have the speech recorded and you're going to hear it here in a second. And I feel like I did really good. I feel like I did a great job honoring him, plus leaving them with a little bit of inspiration. All right, now you're going to hear this. First of all, thank you so much for having me. Probably wondering why is somebody in the class of 97 here? Well, I was honored when I spoke to Liz and I was invited to speak today about my late husband, Luke Bader. I get emotional, but the tears are healthy. Many of you knew Luke as a classmate. I had the privilege of watching him become an incredible husband, father, and man of faith. I'd love to share more about this story. You probably remember Luke as a baseball player. Raise your hand and remember that Luke played baseball. I watched it, yes. He was a huge Oregon Ducks fan. He was competitive, and he was friendly to everyone. Those qualities never changed. As I got to know Luke after high school, I realized there was one word that described him better than any other: perseverance.
At Luke's celebration of life, I described him with that word, perseverance, the continued effort despite difficulties, or Luke Bader. One of my favorite things about Luke is that he would never, ever, ever give up on anything. He taught our kids a phrase that says, Baders don't give up. They still say it all of the time. And if something was broken, he would never stop until it was done, until it was fixed. And then he would smile and say, I win. That wasn't just how he fixed things. That's how he lived his life. Many of you may know parts of the story, but I want to share a little bit. Luke and I got married in August of 2003. It was beautiful, picture perfect. Life was amazing. 3 months later, he found a lump in his ankle. And fast forward, he was diagnosed with mesenchymal chondrosarcoma, very rare bone cancer. I was 24 and he was 25. And we had also just found out we were expecting a baby. So it was a lot of things at once. But he had such a positive attitude. He started chemo right away. And unfortunately, that didn't work. And he went on to have his right leg amputated 2 inches below his knee. So imagine how that can change someone, especially someone very athletic and strong. So he had to learn to walk again. He was so positive in the hospital, many nurses would comment on it. They would see him reading his Bible, and he was such a light for God during that time. So he learned to walk again. He had so many other health challenges throughout the year, from diabetes, pancreatitis. We were in and out of the hospital all of the time. In 2017, our worst fear came true. His cancer came back, and this time in his lungs, and it was terminal. And he still remained positive through it all. Every setback, he kept moving forward. But what Luke was really fighting for wasn't himself, it was his family. He loved being a husband, and I think even more loved being a dad. He was so great with our kids. We have 3 kids, Hayden, oh, there we are. Hayden, Haley, and Peyton. And he loved all the sports with the boys, baseball, football, even when he was in pain, because he was always in pain because of his amputation and just sick because of the chemo, and it was a rough time. But he pushed through to come to it. He was able to go to Hayden's first high school game where he scored a touchdown, and he was so proud and said, "That's my boy." He was not into musical theater, although he had a great voice. But he would always come and see our daughter in all the shows, and every time she had choir, and he just loved listening to her sing. He fought to be present. He was always looking towards the next milestone. One more birthday, one more Christmas, one more family vacation. We got to make so many memories thanks to the generosity of so many people. We were able to go to Disneyland thanks to the Dream Foundation, who grants last wishes to terminal adults. We got to go to a Ducks game, go down on the field, tour the locker room, all the stuff that he loved. He was in heaven. We got to go to Great Wolf Lodge many times. We went up in a helicopter. We really learned to carpe diem, which is something that I teach my kids because every day is precious. He wasn't chasing trips. He was making memories because he knew that time with his family was precious. People often asked how he stayed so positive. His answer was Jesus. Prayer. I would see him reading his Bible and praying all the time. The faith everyone admired was built in the quiet moments that no one else saw. The hardest thing he ever faced wasn't cancer. It was the thought of leaving his family. He left precious voice recordings for his kids for graduation day, which they have all now listened to. Our youngest just graduated. Left advice for all of them. Even in his deepest pain, he was thinking of his family. On May 23rd, 2020, after a courageous battle with cancer, Luke went to be with Jesus. 6 years ago, when Luke moved to heaven, I thought Luke's legacy would be our 3 amazing children. Today, it's even bigger. When I became a new widow, I couldn't find any support, so I started a nonprofit for widows. We now have groups all around the world. We do retreats. I have a podcast that's in over 150 countries, books, support programs to help widows around the world. Thousands of widows are finding hope and support. There was a moment at my last retreat when it was worship time and my daughter was leading worship, and I'm looking at about 60 widows who are broken and they are receiving the help that they need. And God brought me back to Luke's deathbed and said, if he had not died, this moment would not be happening. I would have never chosen this road in a million years. But God used Luke's life and even his death to bring hope to thousands of people. Luke's celebration of life, I said I would persevere because that's what Luke taught me. 6 years later, I'm still learning what that means. Luke's perseverance lives on through Hayden, Haley, and Peyton, and through every widow whose life has been touched because of his story. 30 years ago, none of us knew what life would hold. We all had dreams and plans. I'm sure every person in this room has faced something they never expected. Loss, illness, heartbreak, disappointment, changes no one else even knows about. If Luke taught me anything, it's that perseverance isn't about having an easy life. It's about choosing to keep loving, keep believing, keep showing up, even when life is hard. Many of you remember Luke as a baseball player, a Duck fan, and a friend. I had the honor and privilege of knowing the husband, father, and man of faith he became. His life reminds me that our legacy isn't measured by how long we live. It's measured by how deeply we love, how faithfully we persevere, and how our lives continue to impact others long after we're gone. Thank you.
And there it is. There's my speech. I hope you enjoyed it. But I wanted to get to tell you about some more things from the reunion. So I felt pretty confident about it. I felt like I felt good. I mean, I honestly only practiced it that day, but it only had to be like a 5-minute speech. It was not like when I was practicing for my hour-long speech. So felt good about it. The rest of the night was pretty fun, some awkward times. It was time for everyone to like take a group picture. So all of the spouses and the outliers, we just kind of stood around awkwardly, but some cool things happened. My friend's mom was there and checking people in, and she's like, I'm a widow, spoke to me, and apparently she is going to get my book. So that was kind of cool. And then another connection was a wife of one of Luke's classmates, who is a biblical counselor and is currently knows a widowed family, and hopefully that widow is going to come to the retreat. So that was a cool, I kept saying this is a divine connection. So there were some really cool things that happened because of it. But let me tell you the awkward things. Hopefully this person doesn't listen to the podcast, probably doesn't. And if they did, they didn't say anything wrong. It's just awkward. Like I don't know how else to say it, but it's awkward. Just the whole thing is awkward. And this girl told me that she was really close to my husband. They must have been back in high school, even though I didn't know about it. And also that she always thought he was hot, which I took as a compliment. I'm like, yeah, I was really lucky. And they're sorry they couldn't make it to the celebration of life. And that they also, it was really hard to hear that he died. And I don't know if this was rude, but it's just what came out. I go, because she says, it was really hard to hear. I go, yeah, it was also really hard to live. Oh my gosh. I didn't mean to be rude. If you're listening, that was not meant to be rude. It was just my first reaction of like, yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to live it. And I have, the whole night was fun. I thought there was going to be dancing. There wasn't. But we still had an excellent, amazing time. We got to make these little keychains. We took a million photos. By the end of the night, I was talking to a lot of people, having fun with a lot of people. One of the girls, she was two of my kids' teachers also. So we had seen each other over the years. So that was great to see her. Shout out Melissa. And it was fun. It was definitely fun. I had some grief. You heard probably in the speech that I cried a little bit, just thinking about being there. But you know what? Luke and I never went to a reunion. So it wasn't like this was like, oh, we're coming back, but he's not here. So apparently he went to his 5-year reunion, which was before him and I were married. And then I guess they haven't had a lot. We've had a lot more. The 10-year, I actually went back and looked at their page, and I actually saw some things he had posted, and he had RSVP'd that we were all going to be there. But I remember that day he wasn't feeling good, and so we didn't end up going. I think it was also a little self-conscious about his leg and just seeing people after all of that. So that was interesting. But I felt kind of mixed emotions about being there. Like, I'm glad I did it. but it was awkward and there was grief. And I'm just going to say it like, and there, it was COVID. I'll give you that. It was COVID, but none of those people that were there were at his celebration of his life, or none of them were there when he was sick. His friends from high school actually didn't attend the reunion. And I'm going to safely say that if he was alive, if he was alive, he probably wouldn't have attended either. He's just like, him and his friends weren't really into that. So, it was great though. I'm glad I went. I thought it was brilliant. And I'm in charge of my class reunion. So if I plan one next year, I'm going to do this on these like necklaces. They had a picture from the yearbook. And so like, especially the guys had changed so much, and it wasn't my class and I wasn't as familiar with them. So I'm looking at them. I'm like, who in the world is that? But then I would look at their necklace and then I'd be like, oh yeah, I remember you. And so if I do that, I'm going to do that as well. So I planned my 5, 10, no, we didn't do 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And now I'm going to plan the 30. Now, let me tell you why I'm hesitant. The 10-year was great. We went to Spaghetti Factory. We had a lot of people coming. 15, one guy, 10 girls, something like. Now, to be fair, we had like 70-ish people in our class. The 20 was great. We had a little bit more. 25, literally, it was me and 2 girls planning it. Not one person showed up. And that's when I said, I will never do this again. But now that we're getting close to the 30 in 1 year, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to try again. And I actually learned a lot from this reunion. And in fact, the girl in charge was trying to give me all these decorations. And I was like, I don't want that. And Joel was like, thank you for not taking it. I'm like, I don't want all that stuff for a year. Plus, I don't know if we're going to need decorations, like what we're going to do. Anyways, I just wanted to share this quick little podcast with you just to share my speech. I think you can all relate to it. I say if you are invited to your spouse's reunion, I would say do it, but bring a wingman or a wingwoman with you. Like I brought Amanda because I didn't want to face it alone. And then being remarried, that didn't feel right to bring Joel to Luke's class reunion. I feel like that would have been like so weird. And Joel wouldn't have wanted to do it because it's just too awkward. But I just want to encourage you, if you have opportunities to continue your spouse's legacy, to do something where you get to speak about them, even if you're not a big speaker, I just encourage you to do it. Maybe somebody has that opportunity right now, and you needed to hear this today, that it's okay to do it. And it's okay to get uncomfortable. Yeah, it was uncomfortable. But guess what? We've done really hard things, right? If you're listening to this podcast, you've done hard things. This is nothing compared to that. So it was a cool experience. I'm glad I did it. Glad it's over with as far as the speech and all of that. And it was super fun dressing up 90s. Oh, I also had my Letterman's jacket, which was super cool. You can see all my pictures on Facebook or Instagram. It was good. So one more thing before we close. The retreat is coming up, okay? If you're listening to this, tomorrow is the last day. Wednesday, August 5th is the last day to sign up before we have a 10% price increase. So that means if you want a single room, 3 nights, all your meals, all the things, it's normally $800. It will go up to $880. I don't want you to have to pay the extra money. Okay. I just want you to be able to come, but we have to do a price increase. So please sign up today. It will be the first link in the show notes so you don't miss it. So you can click on it. So you can go to the retreat. So you can find Widow Community. These girls are my best friends, you guys. Like if you don't have a widow friend, please come to the retreat. You're going to find probably 50 or more widow friends. And guess what? We all stay in touch and we keep up with each other throughout the year. And it's just an amazing time. So I really encourage you, please come to the retreat. widowgoals.org/retreat. You can get all the information. It's October 5th through 8th in Dallas, Texas. And we'd love for you to be there. And I'd love for you to sign up before the price increase. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And thanks for listening. And remember, you can do hard things.